Hey, so you're thinking about getting a propane pool heater for next summer, right? I get it, nothing beats jumping into warm water after a long day, but the last thing you want is to drop a ton of cash on something that either doesn't heat well or costs way too much to run. I've looked into this a lot, especially for bigger pools up to 20,000 gallons, and the Raypak 14786-156A keeps coming up as a solid mid-range option. If you want to check the details, the link is in the description. Now, if you live at a higher elevation, you already know that gas heaters can struggle because the air's thinner and the burner doesn't get as much oxygen. This Raypak model is rated up to 2,000 feet, which covers a lot of backyards, but if you're way up in the mountains, you might want to double-check your local specs. I've seen people try to push gas heaters past their elevation limit and end up with lukewarm water and sky-high propane bills. So, check your elevation first. It's an easy step that saves a headache later. One thing that stood out to me is how straightforward this thing is to set up. A lot of pool owners dread installing a heater because of the gas line work and electrical hookups, but Raypak designed this with a compact footprint and clear manuals. That said, unless you're comfortable with gas piping and local codes, you'll still need a pro to handle the install. I've talked to a few pool techs who say the actual hookup is pretty standard, but the labor cost can add up fast if your setup isn't already gas ready. If you don't have a propane line near your equipment pad, factor in the cost of running a new line. It's not cheap. When it comes to daily use, this heater is built for reliability. It's not the flashiest model out there, but it's made to run consistently without constant tinkering. I've heard from people with medium to large pools who say it keeps the water at a steady temperature even during cooler nights. That's a big deal if you're trying to extend your swim season without babysitting the heater every hour. The control panel is simple, just dial in your desired temp and let it do its thing. No smart features, no app, just reliable heat. If you're the type who wants to set it and forget it, this fits the bill. But here's the catch: propane heaters aren't cheap to run. A 150K BTU unit like this one will burn through propane fast if you're heating a big pool regularly. I ran the numbers with a few users, and if you're running it 8 hours a day in cooler weather, you could go through a 100-gallon propane tank in less than 2 weeks. That adds up, especially if propane prices spike in winter. If you're on a tight budget or don't want to deal with frequent refills, you might want to consider a heat pump instead. Even though they're slower to heat, they're way cheaper to run long term. Another thing to think about is noise. Gas heaters aren't silent. The Raypak model has a fan that kicks on when it's running, and it's not whisper quiet. If your pool setup is right next to your patio or outdoor living space, the hum might be noticeable. I've seen a few complaints about the fan being louder than expected, so if peace and quiet matters to you, test it out or read the manual's decibel rating before committing. Who should buy this heater? If you've got a pool between 10,000 and 20,000 gallons, you live below 2,000 feet, and you want heat that kicks in fast without the complexity of a heat pump, this is a solid pick. It's also a good choice if you already have a propane line set up and just need a reliable replacement. But if you're on a budget, live way up high, or don't want to deal with propane refills, you might want to look elsewhere. So, is it perfect? No. But it's one of those products where the value comes from doing the job without unnecessary frills. It's not the cheapest option up front, but if you need consistent heat and don't mind the running costs, it's a heater that'll last. If you're still on the fence, check the link in the description to see the latest details on Amazon.